Hey guys, Big Daddy Liberty here. Welcome to the Daily Friend, a snippet, as we really track what we did today. Today was a very interesting day. We found ourselves, and we still are, in Cape Town, but we went to Parliament in order to do two distinct things. The first, of course, was to deliver your voice into the heart of the political machinery that is the legislature. And what were we essentially delivering? What was the voice you were talking about? What was the national health insurance? And you guys, all 30,000 of you plus, gave us a mandate to take forward better alternative ideas to our politicians in this country, as opposed to their attempt to ram down the national health insurance down our throats. There are better ways of organizing healthcare. Marius, I'm going to bring you in here. Marius, of course, is a familiar face to everybody in out there. He's our head of campaigns. Marius, top 3 interventions that we were suggesting should be how we run healthcare in our submission.
Well, probably the 3 main things we suggested is better public-private partnerships. The government needs to see the private sector as a partner rather than as an opponent. I think it's generally a problem in South Africa. Another thing was the issue of medical vouchers. Break down the whole health budget and give that money to people, and they can choose how they want to receive their healthcare, whether it's through private clinic or government clinic. They'll also increase competition. And thirdly, we need to make it easier for people on lower incomes to get onto medical aids. One of the ways we can do this is to make it compulsory for everybody who's employed to be on a medical aid. And for people on lower incomes, this can be subsidized by the employer, who in turn could get a tax credit from the government. So this would have a couple of results. That would take off the pressure off the public sector, and also more people on medical aids brings down the cost of medical aids by spreading the risk and so on. And probably a lot of people who aren't coming to on medical aids, if it's compulsory, will be younger people who are lower risk. That means the risk for everybody is actually reduced, so that would only be a win-win for everyone. Absolutely.
And of course, we handed that submission through, or those 30,000 names, into Parliament today. And we still encourage those of you who maybe haven't signed up as part of our petition to do so. You can do so by finding us on our website. That's www.irr.org.za. Look for the campaign, the health campaign, the Stop NHI campaign on there.
And sorry to interrupt, go ahead. People have 1 month to comments closed on 11th October, so time is very short actually on this.
Absolutely, guys, get your comments in, and we of course will continue to bring your voice into the echelons of power. Speaking to the hierarchy, if you will, those who are at the top. Today we're actually also part of a movement in this country of women who are beginning to stand up and get their voices out, and beginning, if you will, to begin to question the absolute failure by the state to do what is essentially their responsibility. That is, of course, to protect our life, liberty, and property, and including those who are more vulnerable in our society, such as women. And again, this was prompted by certain incidents that made it into the news cycle of, the rape and murder of Uyinene, of course, here in Cape Town, that happened at one of the post offices there. Again, an innocuous place like a post office, not innocuous, but a what should be a safe public space like a post office, became the site of a murder of a young woman who was a student at one of the universities here. And of course, other incidents across the country. In PE, a young woman who had a promising boxing and martial arts career cut down by her ex-boyfriend, who she had actually had a protection order against. Again, a failure of the state to play its role. And one of the things we've been advocating for, of course, is we get the whole idea that, of course, there must be a societal conversation around, men being responsible and not abusing and not raping. Of course, that's absolutely goes without saying. But there's something else that I think is missing in the conversation, and that is the actual idea that we need to be empowering our women who live in a violent society to be able to defend themselves. And this is why on this show in particular, we're very big advocates of responsible gun ownership. Encourage the culture of training those women who choose to become gun owners, training them, having them be proficient in gun ownership, and when they choose to become a gun owner, be a responsible gun owner who can defend her life and her liberty, so that when there is some evil guy out there who wants to attack or abuse or even rape them, a would-be rapist, that individual will face very serious consequences there and then from a woman who defends herself. Morris, this was a big issue today. We saw thousands of women, at least 3,000 women out on the streets. What is the message that really we're trying to share in terms of saying we're part of this?
Well, I think one of the issues is part of the reasons we have these issues in South Africa is that the state is weak and the police service itself is actually very problematic.
Absolutely.
I mean, things, we've released a couple of reports in the last couple of years. It's our Broken Blue Line series. We've released 3 of them over the past about 6 years, showing that criminality within the police itself is rife. And that's something where we've got to start with. I mean, there's often serious crimes are committed by the police, and that's actually something that is one of the problems that is one of the reasons we have these problems in South Africa. We need to start with the reform within the police itself as well.
Absolutely. And again, don't take it just from us. We put these ideas to the women who were at this march, and this is what they had to say. Hey guys, Big Daddy Liberty standing right outside the gates of Parliament. Of course, the gates themselves are locked. They've locked everything down because they're afraid of the women who are standing outside here protesting.
I'm here because I'm looking for closure and looking for justice.
And can I just briefly talk to you about this because it's such an important theme. There has been a monumental failure of government, a monumental failure of our politicians in this country to protect women. And instead of real action from them, we've seen the usual rhetoric. I mean, for example, the president has been MIA on this particular issue. And you're raising something which is very important. Women in this country are not being protected by the law. Talk to me about your own experience very briefly, and you don't really have to go into details, but do you feel like government has been, and again, when I say government, let me be specific, do you think that the judiciary, the police, and the supportive system have actually helped you as an individual who's gone through something to get justice?
My situation is that I went to the police station, did the case, they even took me to a hospital to get all the evidence.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there was not enough evidence on it because I had taken off the clothes. I didn't take a bath. I had taken off the clothes. They were all dried out.
Yes.
It went even as far as me going to see someone in the High Court, but it was not complete. I don't know where it ended up, but I was going through a lot. I even went to pay so much bills for psychological help and everything because I was going through the most.
What would you think about if I were to propose that one of the things we can do, in addition, of course, to dealing with men in societally, but one of the things we should be doing is empowering women themselves. Women, in my view, should become their own self-defenders. We can't rely on the state. That's clearly become patently clear. What do you think about the idea of those who want to, being trained and being armed to be able to defend their life and their liberty? Armed citizenry, of women who are able to mete out consequences to any man who wants to rape or attack them on the spot. What do you think about that? Is that one way in which we can begin to empower women in this country?
It can be a way, but very dangerous at the same time because we don't want to open a can of worms. Why I'm saying this, women can also be violent. And women can also be rapists.
We've been having this conversation this whole morning where I've been saying I'm tired of us telling women that women must beg for their safety. They must beg men not to rape them and harm them, etc., etc. When in reality, we need to be empowering women for them to be able to mete out the consequences, for women to be able to stand their ground and say, if you attack me, consequences are coming your way. I'm trained, I'm armed of those women who want to arm themselves, and I will literally blow your face or your nuts off. Sorry to be graphic. As opposed to this weird narrative of telling women that they must beg men not to do the raping and the abusing. What are your thoughts on this?
I just feel that our justice system is not a justice system, it's just a system.
Yeah.
Because it is just serving the people, the perpetrators, and not the victims.
Yeah.
And that is something that government and us as a public need to work together to change, because you can change yourself, but what happens to the next person who still remains the way he is? Because if I want to wear my short skirt, I should be free.
Exactly.
Because people have died for that right of mine to be who I am. Why must I beg to be myself?
Exactly, I'm totally with you on that. There are freedoms in the society which we need to defend. And sometimes defending freedoms requires empowering the most vulnerable in society to be able to stand their ground. Guys, can I put this question to you? What are your thoughts?
I think mine, as a father, I think this thing of killing women and killing our children, we need, we as a fathers, to take part. Like e.g., like I have the girls,
yes,
which is so I need to be more in terms of teaching. Yes. Because some of our fathers were afraid of when you are having a girl to say those kind of things of a woman. But we need to take part in terms of try to voice out. We need to start to teach them at the early young age so that they must know this kind of circumstances.
Guys, welcome back. We put these ideas to them, ordinary members of the public who went out at that protest to have their voices heard. And we asked them, is this one way in which you can defend your life, liberty and property and not be dependent on begging men not to rape them, begging men not to abuse them? That time for that rhetoric is over. What we need now is to empower women to be their own self-defenders, to defend their rights just as much as any man would do so. So, guys, with that being said, thank you very much for watching this episode. It's a very short one. We just wanted to reach you and have a quick word on some of these key issues that we're fighting right now as the Institute of Race Relations. Remember, you can always read and enjoy all of our news, analysis and opinion on the Daily Friend website. That's dailyfriend.co.za. And of course, if you want to support our work and help the likes of Morris and I, especially Big Daddy Liberty, to get out into the field to bring you this quality content, then please consider becoming a supporter of the show. You can do that by SMSing your name to 32823. An SMS will cost you R1. Terms and conditions do apply. Of course, you're SMSing to become a friend of the IRR. Or alternatively, find us online at www.irr.org.za/join. And you can sign up a monthly debit order of R90 there. Guys, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next show.